Hi, my name's Clint Herbert. I am a U.S. Army veteran. I served from 1997 to 1983 as a military policeman. I have been a member of this church now since 2008, and I am a retired senior executive with the federal government, and I am the volunteer property manager here at Pohick Church.
And this is referred to as George Washington's church, right?
This is referred to as George Washington's church, yes, definitely.
And George Mason, too, right?
And George Mason, Lord Fairfax, and plenty other dignitaries and other folks belong to the church here. Washington and Mason kind of worked with the architect to design this church. There was actually a debate between Mason and Washington as to where this church would be located. Mason wanted it further down towards Gunston Hall, and Washington wanted it here, closer to
Mount Vernon. Yeah, his place.
The final argument, or final debate, resulted, of course, in Washington winning, because he did come out here, he did survey it. He did do a demographic study as to where most people were at this point in time and how far they would have to travel to come to this church. And it turned out that this was the site that was more amenable to folks being able to make it here in time for the services. So here we are in the interior of the church. As you can see, the church is built in colonial style with box pews. Like many churches, or almost all churches back in the colonial period of time, when a priest or a diocese or whatever desired to build a church, they first had to raise money. And how they raised money was they sold the pews.
Oh, really?
So these pews would have been purchased by somebody during the colonial times.
Huh.
These three pews up here, 1, 2, 3, those were all purchased by Washington.
George Washington himself, huh?
Yes, and you will see the plaques that designate that on the door entrance. And you'll also see that the needlework on all three of these depicts Mount Vernon.
All right. Oh, yeah, and Mount Vernon was his estate.
Mount Vernon was his estate.
Just a few miles away.
Yes, 6 miles to be exact. And then you'll see again, and then many other people, some dignitaries, some not, purchased the other pews. And
so in church service on Sunday, do people sit here?
We do.
They can actually go in there and sit where George Washington used to sit.
Feel free. No, do this. This church is open daily for folks to walk in and take a self-guided tour.
Wow.
There are docent tours on the first Saturday of every month. And there are docent tours between services, between the 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock service and after the 10 o'clock.
And this is an Episcopal church?
This is an Episcopal church, yes.
Was it Episcopal back when George Washington?
Yeah, it was a traditional Anglican from England.
So the Anglican church from England was the Episcopal church here in the U.S.?
Yeah, it was here. Right. And over time, of course, we've maintained that relationship, but certainly adjusted our way of doing things.
Very
impressive. The
impressive.
Bishop of Canterbury is still our overall bishop, and then we have our own presiding bishop here in
Now, Canterbury,
the US.
that's in England, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. Excellent. And is that a real organ?
That is a real organ that was installed in 1965. It's been redone a couple times.
Very nice. How tall is that ceiling?
Ceiling's about 30 feet.
All right. Very impressive. Mm-hmm. So how many people can come to a service here?
About 300 people can fit in here, 10 per pew. That's comfortable. I mean, we've had certainly more here during certain services, but generally speaking, we can accommodate up to 300 folks per service. We generally average about 150 folks, sometimes less, sometimes more, but we have a pretty active population of about 200 and some.
So is this now a nonprofit or not? It's
always a nonprofit. A church is always a nonprofit.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
all right.
we always.
I do go to church, by the way. I'm Methodist.
But yeah, this is.
Let me walk up here.
Yeah, please feel free to walk wherever.
No, keep telling me the details because the microphone will pick you up there.
As long as we can pick it up.
Very nice.
This is the simple altar.
Yeah. Was this like it was back at George Washington?
Pretty much. Nothing ornate on it, except of course the brass and whatever else we put up there during a particular service.
Someone had to shine at it because I was in the Army and we always had to shine stuff.
Yes, thank you. I don't do that now. I do work on I do support the altar going, but I don't shine brass anymore.
I think a lot of people's medical problems came with brasso.
Bring back bad
Brasso, you know?
Yeah.
It just, oh my gosh.
Seeps into your skin under your fingernails.
Oh yeah. Disabilities there.
And these, as far as I know, have been up here forever. I mean, they've certainly been redone. Certainly during just before the Civil War. And then after, this place kind of fell along bad times. During the Civil War, this was completely emptied out.
Yeah, I read that
used for firewood.
Oh my God! They put horses in here.
They had horses. They had
Civil War.
A medical center. All kinds of things during that period of time.
Can I come to church on Sunday?
Of course you can.
What time?
8 o'clock and 10 o'clock.
It's two
services.
Oh, 2 services.
8 in the morning and then 10 in the morning. In between our coffee hours where we just kind of sit and visit.
So will you be here?
I will be here. I'm usually here both services.
I will look you up and I can do a video too.
I can talk to the rector to see if they'd mind, but I don't think they'd mind.
It's great
but again,
advertising.
the 10 o'clock service is already streamed, and you can download that.
Well, no, it's my YouTube channel. I'm an old Army.
See, I can do this. Yeah,
You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. Hey, this is very impressive. All right. Now, the cemetery I saw in the back, it looked like they were more recent.
Yeah, we still have burials here.
But do you have anything back in the 1700s?
We have, along the back of the church, you'll see a lot of, there's headstones for burials from the 1600s.
Oh, really? On there?
A lot of these folks had been interred elsewhere, and when the family either sold the property or something else was done, they were moved here. So there's a lot of history right around in this area, behind the church. And then in the cemetery, there's all kinds of Revolutionary War soldiers buried. Certainly other soldiers through time.
Could we go out and take a look at it?
We can. Please, let's go.
Okay. All right. I just turned it. Okay, we are out here, and how old do you think this tree is?
Well, this is one of 3 or 4 very old oak trees. We've not aged this one, but we can tell by the one that we had to cut down that died on us that this is probably over 200 years old.
Oh wow, that's great. Now this is a lightning.
This is a lightning thing, yeah, and
okay.
we have a arborist comes here all year long taking care of this.
Make
sure it's got the proper vitamins, proper medicine.
It is tall.
It is huge.
And this is oak, right?
This is oak, yes.
Can you stand right next to it so you can get an idea?
Sure.
Wow. So this thing must be, what, a circumference about 40 or 50 feet?
Not 40 or 50 feet. You're talking circumference.
Would be a string.
Yeah, you're talking probably about 15.
Okay. All right.
Which is good. A little over 15. And like I said, this is probably the oldest now. I'll show you there's a stump over there that was probably half again as big around as this one, but it eventually passed. And we've got a big old one right there, as you can see.
Oh yeah, right on the other side of my car.
Yeah, and then we had one over there in the corner that we had to cut down about a month ago. We've got a full slab, we just haven't aged it yet.
Okay. Now when you age it, you don't put a core sample, do you?
Oh, it's cut down, so we have a slab.
Oh, okay, all right.
And it's got all the rings. We just haven't been able to sit
It's like
down.
doing an autopsy.
Yeah, but it's a healthy slab, so we'll use it to do the count. So the cemetery, it says here the cemetery was started in the 1800s. Actually started a lot earlier than that when it started over there.
Okay.
That
So-
being said, there are some notables here. We have, not necessarily revolutionary, but we have the gravesite of the first deputy sheriff of Fairfax County who was killed in the line of duty.
Wow.
So he's buried here. And we continue to mark these out with these signs. We have other things that we're working on now. And then further down, you'll see another one of these signs, and that points you to the burial place of General Brown, who was George Washington's personal assistant, personal medical guy during the
Can we go look at
War.
this?
Yeah, we sure can. We'll
This
just
is
walk down here.
very interesting. Very interesting. I'm surprised you don't have a fence around here. Just
This is open.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, what fence we've got is the
Well, no, just to keep the animals and stuff out. So.
we don't care about the animals. We got all this wood. We got 40 acres of property here.
Okay. That's right. George Washington did 45 acres, right? Survey?
Yes.
Boy, it is a hot June day today.
It is a hot June day. Well, we've got just a slight bit of a breeze. It's not creating a real oppressive heat.
So you're a volunteer, or you work here?
Yeah, I'm a volunteer. And like I said, I take care of all the property. I've been retired since 2008, my regular work.
Okay.
And so once I joined the church here, I started doing projects. And then I eventually decided to go ahead and take over as the property manager.
This is a very spacious cemetery.
It is. It is. So here's General Brown's
Oh, look at that.
grave site. Can't read that stuff, so we've had it memorialized on these brass plates.
In memory of William Brown, MD, Physician General. I've never heard that term in the Army. To the hospital, who died January 1792. 44 years old. I guess back then that was kind of old, wasn't it?
Well, Washington.
And he
survived
was
to 70.
the medical aide to George Washington.
He was a doctor to George Washington, and he, you know, I guess back in then days, he was formally assigned as a general, medical corps general, if you would, even though they didn't have, per se, the medical corps they have.
So this
now.
is the original tombstone, but of course
Yes.
over time.
Exactly, it's worn through time.
Yeah. Wow.
And you'll see the plaque here.
Revolutionary soldier, 17.
We have quite a few. Just, you know, as you walk around, you'll see some. And you've got, he's also one of the signatories of the Fairfax Resolves, as is this gentleman here. And the Fairfax Resolves was the precursor to the Constitution.
Oh, really?
Yes. It was the first document that had the no
17th century.
taxation without representation written in it.
Impressive.
And so we have about 5 or 6 members, or people who are buried here, who were signatories of this. And in July, we'll be celebrating that with a large plaque on the opposite side in the cemetery.
And this road out here is Route 1, right?
This is Route 1.
Okay.
Believe it or not, when Route 1 finally went under the knife, so to speak, when they enlarged it about 10 years ago, prior to that, right alongside, because it was a 1 lane each way,
Yeah.
you could park up alongside the wall all the way along here, because there was parking here.
Well, that was a while
And
ago.
that's not that far gone, I'm telling you.
Okay.
I was. Now, Long Tom was an Indian chief locally who was befriended everybody and everybody liked him. But at some point in time, something happened. Either you can't tell historically whether it was because he was drinking or something else happened, but he ended up killing a couple people. And then he himself was killed by one of the individual's wife. She ended up killing him.
Okay.
So,
I got 2 ex-wives. They might do that to me.
I hear
Would
you.
you put me out here too?
sure, I'll find you a place. So he was buried here. If you go in, before you leave, go in the church. There's a pamphlet
Okay.
we'll get one before we go in the office and get my name stuff. But there's a nice trifold that gives you a lot of information, including his name and
So
story.
what Indian tribe, do you know?
That I don't know. I would say, one would suspect that it's one of the local East Coast tribes. But that I don't know. But here's.
Those are old.
These are old. They're so hard to maintain. And
How do you maintain them?
You can't use a power washer because they're mostly sandstone or.
Oh yeah.
So you have to come in here and use a brush and some cleaning fluid.
Yeah, that's soft.
Yeah, it'll as you know, it'll wash it away. So we occasionally do some cleaning, but we've generally left it these last probably 10 years.
I can't.
You can't read them anymore.
I can't read them. Yeah.
And that's why we.
Do you think they're in the 1700s?
These are. This is 1830.
Okay, 1830. Oh, you have good eyes.
This one is 1805.
All right.
So we're getting close to the 1700s. Here's 1809.
1809. Now that one's really easy to read.
Yep. The Fitzhughs. If you look back in history, if you put William Fitzhugh, him and in the Fitzhugh family, very prominent in the colonial and revolutionary period of time.
Huh.
Very prominent. Okay. Not necessarily a dignitary as the signers of the Declaration of Independence, but very, very involved. As you can see here, soldier of the American Revolution.
Oh, excellent. Now, is this what you would call a crypt? With a long...
You could call it a crypt, but generally speaking, if you were to lift this up, it would then be obviously be. I don't even know what it would be anymore.
Does that say 1771?
In memory of 1771.
1771, and he died when he was 48 years
48.
old. Woo!
And then this one's got the writing here.
Okay. Let's take a look at that. That was 1698.
Yes, sir.
65 years old. That's pretty good. And
in those times, absolutely. Don't forget a lot of our old-time leaders. Franklin lived until he was in his 80s.
Huh.
And that guy was a noted drinker, womanizer.
oh yeah, I remember him.
I guess that tells you it's never too late to change.
No, that's fine. See,